The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus. A look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by El Dorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday, post time 5:45. By Sugar Valley Farm, looking for your next quality standard-bred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. And now here's your host, Roger Houston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. We've made the trip to Beach City, Ohio, the home of the Rosy Weaver stable here at Glory Meadows. After this message, we'll return and sit down and talk with Rosy Weaver about our Ohio breds in training. Welcome back to Freshman Focus with Rosy Weaver here in Beach City, Ohio. And Rosy, largest stable of horses that you've ever had?
It is. I got, I think, 43 right now, and we have 37 stalls. So there's 6 of them that kind of live in the paddocks in the field, infield for that matter, and then I got a couple fillies at home that when they do come in, they share a stall together, so it all works out good.
You're back from Aiken, South Carolina for winter training, and you raced in the Sire Stakes races last week in Miami Valley. How did they do?
They raced really good. Smooth Talking's probably our best horse, or going to be this year if he stays sound. He had some foot issues last year, and they didn't completely go away, but I'm kind of treating him a little different this year. We got the swimming pool, so I'm kind of taking advantage of that. He loves to swim. And he's been swimming a lot, and then I track him every now and again, and then we kind of train him out of the pool, and it's been working great. He was third, he raced very well, and then Rose Run Zoom, he raced really good too. A little bit dull at the end, so I got him scoped, and he actually has an entrapped epiglottis, so that's something we could work on and I think can improve.
You know, coming back from South Carolina, usually the horses maybe need a few starts to get going. Yours didn't.
Yeah, and that just comes from experience of being down there for the 3rd year. First year we had I thought I knew how to shoe them, and I was wrong. And then the next year we did a little different, it went a lot better. And then this past year was probably the best year yet. But like I said, it just comes from experience and learning what to do and stuff. And I always kind of back off when we train, like a week or even 10 days before we head home, just to kind of freshen their legs up and make sure they handle the ship good. And one of the main reasons I like Aiken is because it's like this out. Like the temperature change when we come home isn't dramatic. So it's not like Florida where it's 80 or 90 and then you come home and it's like 30. So I think that also helps a lot for them to kind of just blend right into this weather.
Blend right in. Horses blended right in, but Rosy Weaver didn't blend right in, did you?
No, I think I might have stressed a little too much about, I don't know, the horses shipping home. I usually don't sleep for a couple of days before they go, and it's only because my whole business is basically on the road, and it just worries me. The shippers have done great all 3 years. I have no reason to worry like I do, but I just do. And I'm sure that's why I got sick and ended up with pneumonia, but if nobody missed a beat here. Like, I have a phenomenal crew. I was laid up. I missed 2 days of work, tried to come back one day and was upside down again the next. So, but these guys, like I said, I'm blessed with a crew like this, and they never missed a beat. There wasn't a horse that didn't go out or a job that didn't get done.
Now, your 2-year-olds. We're going to look at 13 of the 2-year-olds today. And I noticed those 13, we have 10 different stallions.
Yeah.
How many 2-year-olds overall do you have?
I think we started with 29 or 30, and I think we have 24 or 5 left. We sold 3, and yesterday I pulled shoes on 2. Nothing wrong with him. One's a June foal, and I really, really like him. His knees were just wide open, and I just chose to shut him down for the year.
You have a very diversified group of 2-year-olds. What's the process you go through in choosing which one you want out of the sales?
Well, it's probably different than most. I don't really go like for a certain stud or for a certain bloodline, or, I mean, obviously we look at conformation. I watch the videos a lot. I won't buy one strictly off a video, but I like to, you know, put it in my homework for confirmation and stuff. But I really read a horse's eye. I don't know, I kind of got a gift for that. I don't know why or how, but I've done really well reading a horse's manners. If they don't, you know, if you go in a stall and they don't even want you to look at them, and I get it, at a sale they're probably kind of annoyed after 400 people look at them, you know, but you can still tell. I mean, we bought a couple fillies the last 2 years that were sort of pouty when we looked at them, and they're still sort of pouty, and neither one of them are here anymore. So.
Yeah. How fast did you train your young horses down in Aiken?
There was like 6 or 8 of them that went in like 17 before we headed home, and I think everybody was around 25 or better. Like I said, 6 or 8 of them went quicker than that. Didn't ask them to go, just let them. You know, it's the only reason we went in 17.
Now, where are you at today?
Well, I trained, I think 6 or 7 of these guys that are in focus today trained between 14 and 17 yesterday, and that's the first time that we let them trot a little bit, because like I said, I let them go, you know, let them trot a little bit in Aiken, and I kind of backed off. We didn't train them about a week before we headed home, and then we jogged for a good 10 days up here, and first trip we went in like 35, and we just eased back. We're home for just over a month now, and we're back down to basically where the good ones were, or the best ones, before we left a month ago.
Now, when people see at the county fairs, you have with you always is your best pal, your dog. And when we got here this morning, both myself and Frank, he really would not stop barking with us. But here, you got him right beside you, and he's a perfect gentleman.
Yeah, he's really protective, and I like that. I mean, I don't want him to have, you know, to hurt anybody, but when new people walk out that door, sometimes I think he scares them too. Yeah. He can be pretty aggressive. I think I don't know, I think his bark's louder than his bite, but I wouldn't trust him too far. But he's good for the most part. He's really grown up a lot. I hope that at the fairs this year he'll be even better than he was last year, but he's definitely my sidekick wherever I go.
Well, thank you, Rosie, for sitting down and talking to us about your operation now here at Beach City and Glory Meadows Racing location. After this message, we'll return and take a closer look at the 13 Ohio breds in training for Rosie Weaver.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Racing is back at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation July 6th. Thrilling harness racing at El Dorado Scioto Downs. One track, 90 racing days, 100% action. Horse players can earn points with the new Caesars Reward Program. El Dorado Scioto Downs. Racing returns May 9th.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus as we take a look at the 2-year-old Ohio breds with Rosy Weaver. Going to start off with the gelding Spin the Prize by Enterprise out of Spend It In by Muscles Yankee.
This is a really nice gelding that I wasn't really an Enterprise fan. I'm still not the biggest Enterprise fan, but this horse is really coming around. I really, really liked him at the sale. And so we decided to buy him. He kind of got sore and aching. It was kind of a crazy story. We had coyotes come in and chase my little goat around the barn area at night, and he got hurt in a stall. So it's kind of been a long process, but just the past month, he's really turned it around, and he's really doing good. He trained good yesterday, and I look for him if he stays sound. He's really big, like I said, real coarse, kind of a Muscles Yankee look to him. But he's doing good, and he's so well-mannered. Once in a while, he'll take off a little bit on the track, but he's doing good.
Another one with quite a bit of size.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's staying sound. His knees are good, and he's, like I said, he had an issue left hind when he got hurt down in Aiken, but that's pretty much been completely healed, I think, and he's doing really good.
As a driver, you got a big horse. Is it hard to see around him?
Yes. I qualified Zoom at the Meadows, and I literally had to look around him because it was like driving an elephant. He's like huge. And yeah, that's the first time I drove him. I didn't drive him at all last year or qualify him or anything, and it's quite a big difference.
Yeah. I've never asked a driver that question before, but I just happened to think of as many big horses you got, you kind of have to adjust your way you handle the race.
Yeah, it's definitely different because you look straight ahead and you see nothing but horse.
Hey, what determines whether you drive or you put somebody else up on?
Nothing really. For the most part, I'll probably qualify most of them. And then last year, I don't know. If you don't fool me, I got along with really good. Nobody did anything wrong. It's just, I'll have the odd ones that are little lunatics on the track sometimes with all the trotters we got that I'll drive early or at the fairs and stuff. But no, I usually don't drive the very, very best ones. But there's no reason other than, like I said, if they have a little issue or if they're really hot or something like that.
Do you like driving at the fairs?
I love it. I really enjoy driving. I know I'm far from the best, but we do okay, and I do okay. But I've learned from people that are very, very good drivers, so I've tried to take notes and do the best I can out there.
What does it tell the wagering public when they see Rosy Weaver's driving one of her trotters at the parimutuel track sale?
I don't know. Usually I'm not 100 to 1, so I guess they're not. I don't know. I've done it long enough that they probably know that I'm just going to get them around there. And for the most part, like I said, last year I drove full in the Sire Stakes, and I was second, I think, the first time I drove, and I was 60 to 1 that day, but he drew the outside. But for the most part, I drove him one start this year at Northfield after his qualifier, just to get him tight, and then Tyler drove him down at Miami Valley and won with him. And they're usually, if they're 5 to 1 for me, they're usually 1 to 5 for a real driver.
But mostly your driving is at the county fair.
Yeah, for the most part, it's 80-20.
This is the Enterprise gelding. Spin the Prize. This is Eer Hill Addie by Triumphant Caviar out of Carry the Torch. Number 1 on your group right now.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite little fillies. She's on the smaller side of the fillies we have this year, but there's none that love their job more than her. And she's a sister to Eer Hill Carey, who we had last year. This is a Caviar, and she was an Uncle Peter. This one's got a little more talent, I think, than one last year.
Did you get her at the sales?
Yeah, we got her at the Buckeye.
Yeah. Now, how much of an influence did the horse that you had last year have on you to take her this year out of the sale?
A lot, actually, because that filly was small. She's still tiny, but she just has a heart. She tries so hard, and she's good gaited, good conformation. Everything's good about her, except she's just simply too small to be a really good horse.
Do you put trotting hobbles on at the beginning or not?
No, not at the beginning. Her sister never had them on. She does. She's a Caviar, so she needs, Usually they need a little more help early than some of the other ones, like the long toms or whatever, but she's got them on, but they're not like tight, and she didn't have them on early, but she'll probably wear them all year because she's really doing great. She trained amazing yesterday.
This is the 2-year-old filly, Eer Hill Addie by Triumphant Caviar. This is Sassy Sally, a filly by Marseille out of Visionist K by Dream Vacation. Is this the first Marseille that you've had in your stable?
Yes, I think this is the first crop, 2-year-olds this year. This is a really nice filly, got a ton of talent. She's really big, and her stride's even bigger, so there for a while she had a little bit of a struggle getting her gait together, but we put hobbles on her too. I think it helps the bigger horses more than it does the little ones, and she leans right into them hobbles, and she can really trot. I hope she stays sound because she's a nice filly.
Now you mentioned the knees. I understand you had a lot of your 2-year-olds x-rayed last week to check those knees, didn't you?
Yes, just to make sure anybody that had a question or that I had a question about might have pulled up a little sore after training or just body language wasn't themselves. I just got them looked at just to make sure.
Now, with a big filly like this, any problems with her out on the track?
None, absolutely none. You'll see him today. She's like a 4-year-old. She's just been quite a pleasure to deal with. I mean, she's done everything right, and she's just, like I said, she's like a 4 or 5-year-old. The Marseilles, I got 3, and they're just amazing.
This is Sassy Sally by Marseille out of Visionist K. This is the gelding Silverton by Marseille out of Turquoise Sweetie by Dream Vacation. Another Marseille and medium size.
Yeah, he was small when I got him at the, I actually got him at the August sale. I think that's the only reason he was at that sale. It's because of his size, but this is a very well-bred horse. He's like a half-brother to Barn Girl, who was over at the Meadows. He was a very good horse. And he don't care about his size. He's holding his own. This is one of Robin's favorites. And he trained yesterday. He trained with the Payson filly yesterday, so he's bred exactly like Sassy Sally, Dream Vacation dam as well. He's got a little more spunk than her, but just doing everything right.
Of all the horses, every single colt is now a gelding. Do you just do that as a normal thing, or do they all have reasons to be geldings?
No, not for the most part. It's got to be an extreme standout before I'll leave him stud. The only way, I got one stud in the barn, but it wasn't because he's such a great horse. The guy stood up on the stand and called him a gelding and said he gelded him when he was a weanling or whatever to turn out. And down in Aiken, he dropped, and he is now a stud. So the guy kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a bad situation, but he's still a stud, and it's late enough now where I won't geld him, but not because he's such a great horse, although I think he's okay.
Makes it easier on your employees when you got a bunch of geldings, so doesn't it?
Much better, yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, so many times, I mean, I'm sure, obviously there's some that race great or we wouldn't have any studs, but so many times it affects their gait, especially trotters behind, I think, a lot. So we usually, like I said, for the most part, all my owners are good about it. We usually just geld them.
This is a gelding Silverton by Marseille. This is the filly LT Ella by Long Tom out of Ariella by Donato Hanover. I noticed that most of these 2-year-olds that you got featuring here today, the sire of the dam has got a pretty good reputation.
Yeah.
You look at that?
Yeah, we do. And again, like this filly's got a very, very good family, and she's a full sister to You Don't Fool Me, which was obviously a nice horse last year. I think she's got a little more talent than he does, and her conformation, everything about her is a little better. I love her manners. She's really nice and calm on the track. She hasn't, no hood or no hobbles or nothing. She's one of the better fillies we got, if not the best one.
It's kind of unusual to have a horse like that, isn't it?
Especially a filly. A 2-year-old trotting filly with brains will take you a long way.
This is the filly LT Ella by Long Tom. This is a gelding quintuplet by What the Hill out of Vandy's Magic by Giarmbo. You got a lot of horses with white legs, it seems like, or around the ankles and such, and a lot of white markings. No superstitions or anything?
No, and that's kind of the last thing I look at when we're buying them. I mean, I don't mind the color, but I actually prefer not to have 4 white feet or whatever. But I guess this does look kind of sharp when they have a little bit of white on their face. But this is a What the Hill gelding, and there's a lady in California. They just call her Mama C. She's 93 or 4. Probably the sweetest little lady I ever met, and she's like my biggest fan. Mm-hmm. So she went to the sale, and she helped Mark and Kathy pick him out and buy him. And she was at the farm in December, I think, before she went to California for the year. She'll be back in June. But just like I said, just a sweet little lady. And I'm really hoping this horse pans out so she could come to the races and root for him this year, because not every day that when you're 94 or 5 years old that you get to root for your horse. And
how's he been doing?
He's been doing good. He's really big too. But he's been holding his own, and he's doing good. Like, he's staying sound. Everything's been good. He last week when he trained, he spooked or something, and he jumped on his foot, and he was a little bit sore for a couple days. But it's, like I said, it's nothing. And his manners are great too. We opened him up, I think, last week, because he was getting a little warm to train with company. Mm-hmm. But just racy, I don't mind that, as long as they come back to you when you work on them.
This is a gelding quintuplet by What the Hill. This is the filly Fancy's Lightning by And Away We Go by Fancy Sierra Star by Sierra Cosmos. We was talking about white on horses. This is a paint.
This one's got a little bit of white.
Just a little.
Just a little. She trained yesterday in 22. I think they come a back half in like 5 or 7 or something like that. And she digs and tries. There's really none in here that try any harder. I don't know. I keep looking at the color, and it's kind of hard to believe that she'd be like a Sire Stakes horse or whatever, but she really does dig and try and stays trotting, and she's come a lot further than I thought she might.
We don't have very many paints racing in the United States, but over in Ireland and Wales and those countries, they actually have races for paints.
Yeah, that's when down in Aiken, when she first started training, every now and again, like I have a bunch of owners, like I said, the lady in California, and there's a lot of people that can't come down to watch their horses when we're in Aiken. So I tried to, like once a month or whatever, I would post some pictures and stuff for them to see. That's really why I do it. And somebody from Ireland saw a picture of her training, and the guy called, he wanted to buy her, and it was, yeah, he really wanted to buy her, but we'll see how she does. Like I said, if she stays sound, she'll show up somewhere. I'm not sure. The only thing I'm a little worried about is, like, a lot of horses are scared of a paint, or like they spook and stuff. So mine are all used to it. But if we take her to a fair or something, some of those horses have never seen it. Excuse me. I feel kind of bad. I hope I don't cause any frustration or anything like that. But if she keeps doing what she's doing, she'll show up probably at Paulding. So
no real problems with her?
None. Like, I put extra weight on her, like I said. She's not a long tom, so yeah. So she needs a little help. We got hobbles, and we got a heavy shoe, and I got a toe weight, but she doesn't, like, interfere much. Yesterday she nicked her elbow coming that big last half, but no, she's been sound. Her feet, everything's white, so I'm a little worried about her feet, staying healthy. She had a little thrush and aching from the clay because of all her white. But no, she's been nice.
Many, many years ago, it seemed like almost every trotter had toe weights. Now it's something that you rarely see.
You'll see quite a bit of it in my barn. I don't know, it's like an old school thing, but I'm still a fan of it. I don't really know why people went away from it, because like I said, every year, I had on quite a few horses last year, but it's something that I'm not afraid to go to. I like it better than a bell boot if it's, try to get a little more reach out of them, balance them out or whatever.
The toe weights, you can put different weights and change them, and just like any other piece of equipment.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not all, like the bell boot is a little weight. It's also to keep them, from jumping on themselves and stuff like that. But like the toe weight will definitely give them a little more reach. and balance for that matter. And I think I got 2 or 3 that have toe weights on today here.
This is Fancy's Lightning by Away We Go. This is the gelding Beat the Odds by What the Hill out of Somebody to Love by Angus Hall. This horse has a story.
He's got quite the story. Really shouldn't be standing here today. But when we gelded him, I think it was in this stall, we gelded him. We had 6 to do that day. And he was one of the first ones, I think. And anyways, we were working in the barn, and he was fine for a while. And all of a sudden, I come around the turn here, and he was down, laying down, and I knew that wasn't a good sign. So long story short, Valley View was here. Quinnt's done a lot of work for me for the last 20 years, gelded all my colts, really all of them for the past probably 20 years. And we've never, ever had an issue. He's just done a phenomenal job. And there was nothing he did wrong when he gelded him, but he saved his life by doing what he did here at the farm. Me and one of the guys, Joe, that works for me, we had an emergency barn surgery. We took him over on the other side, and he was in so much pain. We got him up, but he was in so much pain he went down like he passed out or fainted or whatever. And we put him to sleep. Quinnt put him to sleep, and we flipped him upside down again, and it was pretty amazing to me what he did. I was kind of in a panic, and he somehow got everything that dropped out. I mean, he had a bunch of guts hanging out, and it was really ugly. Has absolutely no reason to be standing here today. But thanks to Quinnt and his quick, moves, and he literally got everything back up in there, and he never colicked. And he told me, he said, if the horse colics, he's done. And this horse had temperatures of 105 at least 5 or 6 different times. And he wouldn't lay down for probably 2.5 weeks because he knew he wouldn't be able to get up, because he had not only the incisions from being gelded, but he sliced a hole in front of where he had the other incisions, and we had to reach in there, and it was just ugly. But anyways, this horse has got heart and determination like, I don't know, none I've seen. So he never missed a meal. He never pinned an ear. Miriam, the girl that takes care of him, she had an ugly job for 2 months because he had pus coming out of them holes down his legs. It was truly unbelievable, and she did a great job keeping him every day, keeping him cleaned. And like I said, he never ever pouted. If he would have pouted or felt sorry for himself, one day he would have been dead.
Do you remember what his original name was?
Yes. Couldn't have been further from what he is. My beachy side. He's everything but beachy. And
usually you don't change horses' names, but that's why you changed this one's name.
Yes. We still call him Beach in the barn. And I don't know, after, like I said, Sunday mornings when I would feed, once he finally did lay down, I would lay down with him in the mornings and stuff. And he's just, I don't know. I got a connection with him now that I think he'll show up on the track.
How's he been out on the racetrack?
Trained in 14, I think, yesterday, or 15, something like that. Hanging on pretty hard.
This is, and remember this name, Beat the Odds, because he did, by What the Hill. This is the filly Pink Jammies. Is this right? By Fear the Dragon, out of Think Pink, by Yankee Cruiser, a pacer.
Yep, you're reading it right.
Why?
Why not? I don't know. I didn't stake her to the Sire Stakes just because this is my first year of trying pacers. She's pretty nice. She's a Fear of the Dragon from what I've heard. Like I said, this is my first year with pacers, but sometimes I've heard the fillies can be a little bit like, she doesn't have her ears up a lot. She'll look pretty mean when you walk by her stall or whatever, but I kind of, in a roundabout way, I like her attitude. We've been talking her into thinking she's a good horse, because she, like I said, she's not the happiest filly in the barn, but she trained in, I think we went 14 last half and 3 yesterday with her. Little Silverton's her buddy when they trained, but she's a good gaited, slick. I mean, she's really, like I said, she's come up a long ways. We staked her to the Buckeye and a couple fair circuits, and we'll see what she does.
You know, this is not an actual number, but I would say probably in your racing career, you've probably had maybe 300, maybe even 400 different horses. How many pacers?
Not a lot. I mean, like I said, back in the day when I just had 8 or 10 horses or whatever, and they were all overnight horses, I had a handful. I had a lined Hanover. He paced in 52 at Northfield probably 10 years ago. Excuse me. And Mancino was probably my favorite. I drove him at like the county fairs and some of those women's races, and I've done okay, but never had any babies.
Why do you like the trotters so much, though?
I don't know. I guess, like I said, you know, years ago when I was a groom here, that's all Ruby had was literally what I do now for the most part, except for a couple pacers. But she always had, you know, 2- and 3-year-old trotters, and we always, you know, I grew up Amish, so we always had trotters in our carts and buggies at home. And it's, in the racing world, I think nothing's easy at all, but I think, like I said, I didn't stake her the Sire Stakes because these guys, from what I've watched and done a little homework, we got to pace in 50 or you're not even a good 2-year-old, which is wild to me. And like the trotters, I mean, like I said, it's still very hard with the competition, all the great trainers out there and stuff, but I've done good with them my whole life, and even for the, like I said, the people that I work for, we did okay.
You mentioned Ruby Hostetler. Flowing Mineral Farm, I believe, was the name of this farm. Now it's Glory Meadows, but that was a good person to start out in harness racing with, wasn't she?
Yes, I mean, Ruby was a great lady. She didn't like train herself. She would stop by every morning and sit up in the office and look out the window and watch her horses go. Jimmy Smith and Ben Miller were the trainers I worked for. And, you know, I always go back and say, back then, you didn't go, or we didn't go to Lexington or Select Sale and watch videos and pick horses out what we wanted. We trained what the mares had. And they weren't, like I said, Long Toms and Uncle Peters and What the Hills. So I think that's a big reason I have the success I do, not only with the owners I have that, you know, buy good horses for me and all the help that helps me, you know, do what I do. But back then, like, we had to do all kind of things to get these things to trot. You know, it was wild compared to what it is now. These horses they come from the sales. We don't, like, we have the fence out there had an extension on it down in the infield because we would herd our babies in there and back the trailer down and herd them onto the trailer and shut all the doors in here except one and open the stall doors, and we would just, whoever ran into a stall, it was like a rodeo. And these things were wild. So, but I'm glad that I was a part of that because it makes my job today a heck of a lot easier.
Your job today is a heck of a lot easier, in your words, but that foundation makes you a better trainer.
Absolutely, that's my point. Like I said, all the things we did the hard way, and like I said, the horses we dealt with, not that Ruby didn't breed good horses, I'm not downgrading that at all. I'm just saying the way we did it, like we were dealt with, you know, whatever the mares had is what we trained. We didn't go to the sale and have like videos, numbers we liked and then X'd them off because their leg was crooked. When the leg was crooked, we had to deal with it.
This is the filly Pink Jammies by Fear the Dragon. This is the filly Dixie Road by Uncle Peter out of Sawmill Road by Gijarmbo. Nice looking filly.
Yeah, she's really big. I don't know, this is one at the sale. Her eye, like talking about earlier in my video about reading a horse's eye, she's fooled me a couple times because she looks mean, and she might have been too. Like early on when I bought her, I talked to one of the guys that works for me, Joe, and I figured she would be a filly that would be better off if one person worked with her from day one and, you know, not get handed around from groom to groom, or just got handled with a little care. And Joe's been taking care of her from day one and has done a phenomenal job with her. She does, like I said, you can see, she's got a little bit of an attitude, but like I said, he's done really good with her. And I think our plans worked really well to just keep her, like he jogs and trains for me and does a little bit of literally everything, but he takes care of a few every day, and this is one of them. So I think that's
I've
has a lot
never
of
heard
good.
any trainer ever say, I can tell by looking at their eyes.
I know. People probably think I'm crazy, but I really can tell what kind of attitude they have or could be if you know. And this is an Uncle Peter filly, so it's not a Long Tom filly or a Marseille. These Uncle Peters have a little bit of a tweak to them, and I know there's some trainers that won't even, I've had different trainers, no particular people in mind, but I've had them ask me, when the sale comes around or shows up, have called me and said, hey, if I buy an Uncle Peter, will you train it for me? My trainer just wants nothing to do with them. So they their reputation's not the greatest when it comes to attitude.
This is a filly, Dixie Road by Uncle Peter. This is the gelding Glamorous Pete by Uncle Peter out of Globally Glamorous by Andover Hall. I noticed this one is in the farthest distance from the racetrack. Any particular reason?
No, not at all. We have the newest girl here, Miriam. She's just started when we come home from Aiken, and I tried to be nice to her and give her the most well-behaved horses, and maybe not the biggest ones because she's not the biggest. And so, that's the only reason he's back here. Like I said, I got 6 horses that she takes care of, and I tried to get them to where they don't look like Dixie Road.
Yeah. How's Glamorous Pete doing? The true story now. Don't butter this one up.
Oh, he's doing okay. He's got a little attitude. I got him x-rayed on Monday night, got his knees done. Just like I said, he's a Mayfoal, and I just wanted to make sure his little fits on the track aren't from pain or anything. And his knees are a little bit inflamed, but nothing. Everything looks good, and the vet said to keep on going. He has days where he's a true Uncle Peter out there on the track. But like I said, the other day he trotted a last corn 32, and he's really fast. But right now, like I said, he's definitely not one of the easiest horses we have to train.
Does that mean you'll be driving him?
There's a strong possibility early on that I will.
Who owns this horse?
Well,
I mean, who is the? I mean, I can't believe. Well, maybe you shouldn't mention the owner. I don't know.
I don't know. Some guy named Roger Houston. I don't know. Did you ever hear of him?
I was looking so forward to Aiken calling his very first time in a race. And he makes a break into the first turn. And my entire trip to Aiken was destroyed in one moment, so to speak. Not totally, but
Almost.
almost.
No, he just, that day when he come off the gate, he wanted to go in 2 minutes, and his little legs don't know how to go that fast yet. And that's one thing I like about him, actually. I mean, that sounds crazy. I don't like the fact that he made a break, but I like the fact that he wants to go, because like a real legend, and there's been more Uncle Peters that I've had that didn't want to go than ones like him that actually want to go too fast. So I do like that about him. He just, like I said, he needs to figure out how to put it all together at the same time. And he's getting better. Like I said, he did good the other day.
Well, continued success, and I hope it gets better and better with each coming day.
And hopefully the next time you call this race, he won't be making a break.
This is Glamorous Pete by Uncle Peter. This is the filly Millie M by Long Tom out of Agenda Tom Ridge by Tom Ridge. And this is very small. Seems that way anyway.
She's not. She's kind of hidden in her stall, but she's not huge either, but she's a very nice size. Got a lot of brains, like the 2 Long Tom fillies I have in today's focus. The other one is LTella. These 2 fillies have brains of like a 4-year-old mare. And so I think that'll, if they stay sound, like I said, it's May, not July, so there's a long way to go, but if these 2 girls stay sound, they'll do really good. Just like I said, they got talent and also a lot of brains.
Do you find that trait with all of the Long Toms?
I've had quite a few Long Tom fillies. I think Happy Girl was my first one, and she was actually a lot like this filly. not near the talent this filly has, or LTL, but she was very, mellow and not hot and no crazy habits or anything. So for the most part, long times I've had, luckily haven't been really hot.
Going right with the others to some degree?
Yeah, no, not to some degree. She is. She's also one of the better fillies. She's done everything right. I don't know why she wouldn't be classed as, number 2 or 3 maybe in the barn.
This is the filly Millie M by Long Tom. Well, that wraps up another edition of Freshman Focus. I'd like to thank Rosy Weaver, her second trainers, and all of the caretakers for making our job very easy today. Join us again next week, same time, same location for Freshman Focus.
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by El Dorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday, post time at 5:45. By Sugar Valley Farm, looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.